Sanji getting Conquerors Haki is the last straw for me because this cements Conquerors Haki as the most inconsistent power system ever. Not only is it inconsistent in how it's applied when it comes to advanced Conquerors Haki, but it's also inconsistent on what the qualifications to be a Conqueror is in the first place. And at this point, it doesn't even represent or mean anything. At first, we're told that Conquerors Haki is the disposition of a king. And it kind of makes sense. We see Luffy, we see the Yonko, we see Boa Hancock and Doflamingo. So it kind of makes sense. These are very kingly figures. They're at the top of their own hierarchies. Now, Rayleigh is one exception where you could say, okay, maybe he developed it later in life. But then you have like Katakuri, who's like this grown man who's a subordinate to another Yonko. In what ways is Katakuri kingly? I think that's a big contradiction. And then Yamato completely breaks it because she's just an absolute meat rider who's pretending to be someone else. So how are you a conqueror? How are you kingly in any way? And then you have Zoro, who's a subordinate, but at least wants to be the best at something, wants to be the top of some hierarchy. Even Whitebeard and Ace is kind of iffy. Like Whitebeard's whole thing was that he could have been Pirate King. He had the power. He was equal to Roger. He had the resources. He was the number one pirate after Roger. He could have been king, but he chose not to be king. That doesn't even make sense. Same thing with Ace. Ace literally subordinated himself to Whitebeard. Whitebeard wanted to prop him up, and Ace denied that. And he wanted to serve Whitebeard. So how is he kingly? It doesn't even make sense. Then now you got Sengoku. If you think Garber's a bootlicker, go look at his conversation with Sengoku after God Valley, dude. Now once you get to Sanji and Gabon, it's just because you need a certain amount of top tiers, and they have to have Conquerors Haki plot-wise to be able to defeat the Holy Knights. So now it says nothing about character, it's just a plot device. It's the same thing as Ornament Haki, and it's just less consistent now. It's just an absolute tragedy of a power system. But it feels like now it's just way too bloated. There's a Conquerors Haki bargain bin sale, and it's diluted it. Now, if everyone has it, it means nothing, you know? If everyone's a conqueror, no one is. Now, at this point, why can't Law be a conqueror? What is stopping Law from being a conqueror? What's stopping Killer from being a conqueror? What's stopping Jinbei from being a conqueror? At this point, what do you really need to be a conqueror?